We start in the US, where President Trump has warned Iran that time is running out for it to negotiate a deal on nuclear weapons. He said the next attack will be far worse than the US strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities last June. The warning came in a long post on Truth Social. Let's take a look at some of it. It says a massive armada is heading to Iran. It is moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm and purpose. Hopefully Iran will quickly come to the table. Time is running out. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. While Iran's state media says the foreign minister has not been in contact with US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff in recent days or requested negotiations. Tensions between the US and Iran are still high following the Iranian government's brutal crackdown on protesters. The USS Abraham Lincoln has arrived earlier, the aircraft carrier in the Middle East. And speaking in Iowa overnight, President Trump hinted at the military buildup in the region.
And in June, we obliterated Iran's nuclear capacity in Operation Midnight Hammer. You saw that. People have been waiting for 22 years to do that, and we were right at the end. They were about a month away from having a nuclear weapon. We had to do it. And by the way, there's another beautiful armada floating beautifully toward Iran right now. So we'll see. I hope they make a deal. I hope they make a deal. They should have made a deal the first time they'd have a country.
Let's bring in Mikey Kay, former strategic military planner and host of the BBC Security Brief. So the Truth Social post from President Trump, Mikey, talking about this armada that is heading towards the Middle East or has now arrived. What do we know about it?
Well, I mean, he's using the term armada. What he actually means is the carrier strike group, the CSG, and at the center of gravity of that carrier strike group is the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is a Nimitz-class carrier, and it's huge. And the weaponry on there, the aircraft on there is significant. We saw something similar on Venezuela, but that carrier is surrounded, Lucy, by a lot of warships and submarines, and we can see the carrier there. This carrier is the center of gravity of pretty much the US military effort. It's not the only thing that the US has. It's got home basing, and on the security brief this week, we're really taking a deep dive into what military assets are there. But this is the center of gravity of what he's talking about on this armada. Now, it's a massively strategic asset. So those warships that follow it everywhere are basically providing a layered air defense system for it, because obviously the US, anything that happens to that carrier would be a major significant problem for the US. And in terms of intelligence and location and what Iran is trying to do, right up there on their intelligence feed, will be trying to understand where that carrier is accurate enough so they could feed any GPS data coordinates into any ballistic missiles or what they want to throw at that. And that's what Iran are doing at the moment. And we saw that yesterday. We saw a long-range Iranian surveillance drone just south of the Straits of Hormuz, and it will be looking at where that carrier strike group is.
President Trump talked about Operation Midnight Hammer in his Truth Social post, Mikey, and referred to the major destruction that was already done to Iran, and then said the next attack will be far worse. Do we actually know how much damage was done during that last US operation?
Well, I mean, the primary target was the lifting of Maduro, and we know that was successful. And we covered that on the security brief a couple of weeks ago in terms of the components that went into that. And those components are no different, Lucy, to what will be required now. So if the US were looking at a lift on the Ayatollah, that would require, as it did with